y'all? I'm Ashley Hydrick, your Southern Lesbian. It's so nice to see y'all. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you in the States who celebrate. To the rest of us, happy Thursday. Okay, y'all, so you're with family today. A lot of you, remember what we talked about last week? Get up and go pee if you have to. Do not sit at the table triggered. Get up and go pee. So today's topic, we are moving on, episode number 22, Unlocking Your Full Potential. I'm going to say that this is kind of also in a relationship, but what I think it kind of means and what I want it to mean and what I'm trying to convey is, how do you feel the most supported? How do you feel like you have a launch pad to just follow your dreams? What does that look like to you? I know I want a partner. I know that I want somebody who supports me and that I feel like is just like a safe touchstone. You know, I want to be able to leap out into the world and do the things I want to do, but I want to know that she's right there and I can come back and cuddle with her and feel safe and supported and grounded. What does that look like for y'all? Let's talk about what it looks like to unlock your full potential. The quote for the week is from Joseph Campbell: "Follow your bliss and doors will open where no doors were open before." I just love that. I believe it. I believe it with all my heart. I always make sure that I have something fun scheduled for myself on the calendar to look forward to. Do y'all do that? Because I'm telling you, life is challenging at times. And if you don't have those things to look forward to, just kind of feels like you're floating through life like, what am I doing? Anyway, that's a really big important thing for me. So I love that quote. I was listening to a podcast the other day with my friend Reverend Moret. Hi, Reverend Julie, if you're listening. I was on there speaking and I just love her. She is Reverend at Agape International Spiritual Center, founded and directed by Michael Bernard Beckwith. Did I get it right? That's what she always says. Anyway, I adore her and she's a very wise woman. I love listening to her. So she was talking on this podcast about how when you want to manifest something in your life, aka a woman, then it's important for you to notice and pay attention to how you feel. Not just the fact that you want a girlfriend, but the why. You know, what are the qualities? How does it make you feel, these various things that you want in somebody? Because that's why you really want them, right? So it made me start thinking. I had a friend several years ago who told me that she had made a list of 100 qualities she wanted in her husband. And then she set out to start looking for said husband. I was like, 100? 100? First of all, who has time to make a list of 100 qualities about somebody? I looked at her like she was a little cray-cray. She wasn't though, and I thought it was fascinating. So I went back home and sat and made a little list, and I don't even think I could make it to 100, but it doesn't matter because today's list would be very different. But I bring this up to y'all because I think there's something to it. So if you have ever done this, and I encourage you to get your little journals out now and start making your list. What are the things on your list that you are really looking for somebody if you're wanting a relationship? So let's say, like on my list, I looked, y'all. I don't have that list anymore. I did make one at one point, but I remember there were things on it like, you know, some of them were physical characteristics, but I mean, whatever. But now I would say, you know, I want someone who's kind. I want someone who's slow to anger. I want someone who allows me to be my full, authentic self. So I want somebody who can also be silly with me, because I love to be silly, y'all. I can get real silly. And I love that. But I also want someone who can have deep conversations, who I can talk about spiritual things and really like get into some of the woo-woo stuff, because I love that. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that, but I think that anybody's going to be with me, they need to be able to talk about this stuff, because, you know, I'm a little woo-woo. I wanted someone that I'm sexually compatible with. And we know in the lesbian world, that's a thing. In any world, it's a thing. But, you know, I think in my mind, I have this vision of like, you know, straight is just sort of, I know there's all spectrum there, but anyway, lesbians can go a lot of different ways, y'all know. So anyway, I wanted somebody compatible. Well, lo and behold, you know, little Miss Thing that I've been dating showed up and she ticked a lot of the boxes. So that's a really cool thing. But I would like to think that I manifested her. I feel 1000% that I manifested her because I was clear on what I was looking for. And when she showed up, I went, bam. Now, I didn't know that we were going to be compatible in all those ways until we got a little further along. But it's just wild what the energy does, you know? Y'all, like, we walk around in this energetic force field. You are an energetic human being. So the things that you carry in your brain and the energy you emit, this is where the woo-woo comes in, y'all. Anyway, just play along with me. But anyway, back to the list. So if you go back to your list and your traits of things that you want in somebody, or we'll take mine for example, because that's why I'm here, to be your guinea pig. So those things like, I want somebody who's slow to anger. Well, why? Because I would like to feel peace in my home. Okay? List out why next to each one. When I want someone who is a little woo-woo, because I like to go deep. I want to feel like I can have deep conversations with people about what if scenarios. I don't know, I just love that. I love talking about all the what ifs of these things. I think it's so fun and so cool. Not everybody enjoys that. When I want somebody who's sexually compatible, why do I want that? Because, well, A, I think I deserve that. I think we all do. I think that type of close connection after you have really sort of solidified your bond with your person, then bringing it into the physical and it really being special and connecting in the right way is just, it's incredible. It's incredible, and I want that. When you sit in these feelings of these things, of why you want them, I think that it brings about a different resonance within you, right? It's more than just, I want a blonde. Well, I mean, great, Broomhilda, but why do you want a blonde? Well, maybe there was somebody that was a blonde in your life that treated you really kindly, and you've always sort of held that vision. Or maybe you were a fan of, I don't know, Pam Anderson as a kid. I don't know, Madonna. You have your reasons, and that's okay. The important thing is that you know your reasons. All right, so the other thing that Reverend Julie said was always make sure in your mind, when you're talking about wanting something and trying to manifest something, that you're operating with the energy of moving towards something, not away from something. This is very important. I've kind of mentioned this before when I see like people on the TikTok mentioning certain things, because y'all know everybody's wife shopping in the comments and whatnot. And a lot of people will come on and say, I don't want XYZ. Well, there's already a negative in what you're saying. Y'all understand that. I think it's really important that you be clear on what you do want and focus on what you do want. Yes, I know we've all been through shit in the past and we don't want those things again, but I think we know that. I think that's pretty drilled in, right? And I think that when you come at people with these negative things right off the bat, I personally find it a little off-putting. I, am instantly thinking, well, you don't know me and I don't do those things anyway. Not that I'm supposed to take things personally, y'all, I know. But tell me what you do want, Let's get to the good stuff. Tell me what you do want. And in moving towards something that you do want, you keep the energy positive. It's exciting. It's encouraging. If you sit in that energy of, well, I never want to be with someone who treats me that way again or speaks to me that way again or controls me like that, I feel like that energy carries with us in our minds. And this is where the woo-woo comes in again. If any of y'all listen to Abraham Hicks or anything like that, you're carrying that energy with you. And when you speak these things out loud, even though you're talking about them in a context of what you don't want, they say there's no such thing as the energy knowing the difference. It's like you're putting out this thing that you're talking about and you're giving energy to and you're feeling something about it, that you're going to keep manifesting that, y'all. Well, I don't know. Anyway, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I don't like to carry those thoughts around. I don't want to rehash and ruminate and dwell on things like that when I'm trying to give fresh perspective and energy and love and kindness to the next person I'm attracting. So focus on what you do want. You want a healthy relationship. You want someone who respects your boundaries. You want someone who allows you to feel free in the relationship. What does that look like to you, right? Okay, so stuff like that. Make your list. See if you can get to 100. I don't know if I could at this point, but maybe I'll try. All right, so back to unlocking your full potential, just you as a human, right? The other thing that's important to do is to celebrate now. I think if you can sit in that image of yourself at your full success of whatever it is that you want to do, it's so stinking powerful, y'all. I mean, this is why vision boards work. I've made one about a girl I wanted to manifest, and y'all, it's happened a few times. Anyway, so I digress. But, whatever that highest vision is that you hold of yourself, like, get real woo-woo with it. Get real specific with it. Get in that headspace and sit and think about it. And it's helpful to write out the details of like, okay, what are you doing when you're at your highest self? For me, I'm podcasting, or speaking and maybe on a stage. Maybe I'm interviewing people I never thought I'd have access to before. Maybe I'm helping people and traveling the world, having experiences I never thought I'd have before. I'm vegan, gluten-free, I want to be able to go try all those beautiful vegan restaurants all over the world that do it really well and sustainable hotels and all the things. I want to stay in the nicest places that do this stuff right. That for me looks like success. Well, then I think about, okay, what am I wearing when I'm doing this? Like, get into it on that level. You know, I see me wearing like a off-white suit. I think that's kind of hot. It makes me feel like I'm standing in my full power to be wearing something like that, and nice shoes and jewelry. And what are you feeling? What are you thinking? How do you carry yourself? How do you speak? How do people around you respond? Like, I want y'all to sit in that space for a while. You know, have you hit a certain goal? Is it just building is it building a really beautiful family for yourself? You know, where you're happy, 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 and you're just like surrounded by kids and puppies and on the sofa, laughter and giggles. Sit in that feeling. I think it's so important to sit in the feeling of what it is that you want to build for yourself, and visit it often. Like, make a vision board, put it where you can see it. You're too shy or you're embarrassed, put it behind a closet door and open the dang closet door sometimes and look at it. Do what you got to do. I've done this before, y'all. I used to have it, my old house in Los Angeles, I used to have my vision board on the back of my office door. So when people walked in, they didn't see it, but then when I shut that door, that's what I was looking at the whole time. It had London on it. It had living in London on it. You know, I go back and forth. I'm not like a citizen here, but I go back and forth, and this makes me really happy. It had horses on it. I'm about to start writing again next week. I'm so excited. It had other things too that I'll keep to myself, but y'all get the point, right? Like, it's really powerful to sit and stare at those things that you want, because it just keeps your head in that space, and then you incrementally take little steps towards it, and it's like, oh my God, this is so cool. Now, here's where I don't want y'all to get hung up either. So let's say that you have a dream that you just feel is absolutely astronomical. Ashley, you don't know me. You don't know what my dream is. There's no way this is ever going to happen. Well, I don't know you and I don't know your dream, but I know that I've had those same thoughts, and I know that I have talked myself out of my own dreams before. Case in point, several years ago, I had this dream that I wanted to have this, I still have this dream, big, beautiful horse farm, right? A barn that is done to the nines. Have y'all seen those ones that like have the chandeliers in the middle and beautiful floors and all the modern stall doors, and you know, the horses have the best tack and they're so well cared for and loved, maybe a little bit of a horse rescue sanctuary, a lot of dogs running around, and maybe a child or two that can safely be around the animals. And anyway, that was part of my dream and still is part of my dream. What got into my idiotic brain at the moment, not idiotic, all right, I'm not going to talk to myself that way. I would just, my head would instantly go to, well, where's all that money going to come from? I don't have that kind of money. How am I going to make enough money to have this gargantuan house I want, this big old stable? These horses are going to require a lot of attention and care, and I don't have the time to do that. How am I going to do that? Well, I was set straight, y'all. I was told that I got a little ahead of myself, and maybe I just need to imagine scenarios like maybe there's another couple that wants to live on the property and keep their horses there, and in exchange for keeping their horses there, they take care of my horses. Something I never considered before. Anyway, I'm just saying that we can get caught up with all the reasons why our dreams aren't our dreams. Listen, this is why they're dreams, because it's something we don't have right now. It's something that we want to work towards. But the important thing is not to allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole too long of why it's not going to work, because I don't think that's our job to figure out. I think all you can do is put your dream up there, take one little baby step, and then another little baby step, and then another little baby step towards it. For me, the baby steps right now look like just being around horses again. So that's what I'm doing. But I think that the things will just reveal themselves. You know, I'll probably meet people who can introduce me to people who can help take care. You never know where these things lead. That's why life is a journey, not the destination, right? This is why we can't know everything up front. As annoying as that is, I would like to know too, but we have to just sort of trust, and this is where the faith comes in. I think that we're given these desires for a reason. I do. I think these things are supposed to be our North Star in life. And I think it's our job to follow that North Star, because the things that it's going to lead us to could be better than we can ever imagine. What if you meet your partner by following that blueprint? What if you meet your best friend in life following that blueprint? I think you just have to trust it, y'all. That's my personal opinion. I've always lived by this rule. It has never led me wrong. When I was younger, I had a dream of living in Los Angeles, getting out of little South Carolina and working in the industry and doing all the things. And I just kept taking one little step, and lo and behold, all of a sudden one day somebody popped up and said, I'm moving to Los Angeles. It was a friend of mine. And if you want to come visit, let me know. Well, yeah, I wanted to come visit. And then I stayed with her and she let me sleep on her sofa for a week. And then I went on interviews and got a job and moved to Los Angeles. But the thing is, if you just start putting it out there energetically and in your mind and start taking these little steps and letting people know maybe a little bit about it that you trust, people that you trust, don't go telling everybody in the world your dream, because some people are going to try to poo-poo it and you can't be having that. You know what I'm saying? Just put it out there. And this is the thing, I remember when I was younger, I always knew that I had to get out of little Aiken, South Carolina, y'all. I love Aiken, South Carolina, but I needed to go because I had other things that I wanted to do with my life. I had a very strong pull to get out and move to Atlanta. I did that for 7 years. I didn't question it. I just knew. And when it was time to move to Los Angeles, I just knew. And now that it's time to be in this part of the world, I just knew. I don't know why, but I'm saying I bet there are things in your life too. I bet you have this knowing that we don't give ourselves credit for sometimes, that if you really get honest with yourself with some of the big decisions you've made in your life was because you had this inner knowing and you trusted it. Now, why can't we trust ourselves in all areas of our life? This is where it gets a little murky, right? I think that in dating and in relationships, we've been conditioned. People have behaved a certain way with us. And remember that wrinkled piece of paper I showed y'all last week? Got all these lines and creases and wounds and trauma now that show up in your life as blocks, right? So consider all those little creases in your life like these blocks that are just in between you and what you want. And I think it's our job, y'all, to just do the work to remove these one by one. These little pieces come away and then you're your true authentic self again, and you've opened yourself up to be loving, to be trusting, to be kind, to not be battered by whatever life throws at you. You're resilient, but that takes practice. All this work also absolutely comes into play when you want to chase your dreams. So I would encourage you, just please, 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 always have something amazing that you're striving towards. Some of y'all might be retirement age and are like, screw you, I did that, now I just want to rest. Okay, fine. And the rest of us, I've got a lot of things I want to do in life. So it's just a matter of always having that North Star to keep going for, The next part of this work I was just thinking about was, how do you let the past die, the old you die, so that you can become your new authentic you? You're doing all this work, you're starting to let go, maybe of some people, maybe of some old habits that aren't good for you. Maybe you want to get to bed a little bit earlier and get a good night's sleep rather than staying up and watching the same old crap on TV, having that extra beer or glass of wine to make you tired. You might not need it, Get to bed a little early, start getting into the habit, getting up a little bit earlier. Get up and do one thing in the morning for yourself that makes you happy, like maybe the meditation we talked about. Get your mind on straight, listen to an audiobook, go for a walk, all those things, You got to think about ways that you can really start to shed those old habits if they don't serve you. How can you incorporate more of the new? How can you gently, lovingly release some of the old things? Maybe it's food, maybe it's drink, maybe it's cigarettes. I don't know. You know that. Everybody's got something different to shed, right? For me, it was some toxic relationships, some toxic friendships, some, wine. I was a big wine drinker, y'all, and I let that go. And it wasn't easy for the first 2 months, and then it was fine. It's how long do they say it takes you to develop a new habit? 28 days or something like that? Once you break the habit, it's really not that hard, but you do have to break the habit, and that ain't easy. Again, this work isn't for the faint of heart. I give y'all a lot of credit. Keep going. Have y'all ever heard of Martha Beck? So I was listening to a podcast. I listen to a ton of podcasts, y'all, obviously, and audiobooks and all the things. I was listening to Martha Beck on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and she said something that really resonated. She says a lot of things that really resonate with me, but this one in particular said, whenever you're feeling stressed and overstimulated, just take a minute and say to yourself, I am meant to live in peace. That is powerful. I am meant to live in peace. Yeah, I believe that. So if it's in a relationship that is triggering you, it's in a work environment that's triggering you, stop and just remind yourself, I'm meant to live in peace. And then what does that look like? What does that look like? I think that these triggers come up for us because we're meant to address something. Sometimes it's learning how to work with those triggers and they're not going anywhere. Sometimes it's removing yourself from a situation. What does that look like for you if you want to live in peace? You know? And then also, she said, just center yourself and ask yourself, what feels warm? What feels peaceful? And when she said, what feels warm, that resonated. I was like, ooh, that's like cozy snuggles, cup of coffee maybe, a nice blanket on a sofa, a book that you love, a dog, a cat, an animal, a child. I don't know, but just, you know, sort of put yourself back in that headspace of like what feels warm, what feels cozy. I like that. It's a good way to sort of recenter and reground. Because I will say, if you are working on pursuing your dreams, coming into alignment with your highest self, you can't do it from a dysregulated space. So if y'all got triggers around you going off left and right, if life is chaotic, you're gonna have to address some of those things. I feel like before you can even give space to think about your dreams, right? Some of y'all might be like, well, Ashley, you know, I've got a full-time job, I've got 3 kids, there is no time for me. I know some people like that, and I think that those are not gonna be forever. Maybe that's the temporary space you're in right now. Can you look a couple years down the road and put that dream back on the map for yourself? That's all I'm saying. You know, that might not have to happen this week, but just keep something on the horizon. I think it's so healthy and so fun to have that, to start to think towards and work towards, so that you don't just live in the everyday grind that'll drag you down. Anyway, y'all, not a long one this week, but I just wanted to share those things with you because I do think they're really important. I do think it's important to always have that North Star and that dream that you're working towards. I just think it's so healthy. You know, it just lights your soul on fire. It really lights you up. Dream big. You're supposed to. That's what we're here for. Really, really do believe that. So anyway, that's what I got for you this weekend. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Go pee if you need to. Get yourself out of those triggering conversations. Do not sit through that. Do not, do not, do not. If you feel like someone else would enjoy this, please share it as well. Hopefully it helps you too. If you have thoughts on today's episode, I would love to hear below. Tell me what your dreams are. Tell me where you're listening from. I have no idea. Like I said, I see stats, but I don't know where y'all are. I don't know what's resonating unless you tell me. There's something you want me to talk about. Tell me. I'm open to it. I'd like to also mention the TikTok community because they are a vibrant group over there, y'all, and it is interactive and it's a lot of fun. As we move forward with this podcast, I hope to open up the community space here on YouTube so that we can start to interact a bit that way as well. I think that'll be really fun. I don't understand it yet, but I'm working on it. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will see you next time for the holidays. Get ready. Here they come.